rêveurs, les nouveaux parfums pourront barnetnaughton et Wilson, parce que la vie est faite pour être appréciée.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the show. So today we're joined once again by one of my favorite guests on the channel, and it's Chris from Scentland.
Hello and welcome everybody. Nice being here again. It's been a while.
It has been a few months actually, but it's great to have you back. I know you've been busy because it's summertime and you have a family, and you've been doing some holidaying, visiting some other countries. How's that all been for you?
Yeah, it's been great. Been around locally in Hungary, but also to Vienna and Sweden recently as well. So and we always caught beautiful weather, so it's perfect. It was really nice. Can't complain at all.
Very good to hear. Okay, well, it's lovely to have you back again. Now, we've done a few different decades on the show here. People will probably be familiar with the theme. Chris, of course, one of the great YouTube aficionados, I think, of vintage fragrances. And so it was inevitable that we would get to a slightly more recent decade. And this time we're going to look at the top 10 fragrances, 5 from each of us, from the 2000s. That's 2000 up to 2009.
Right.
So it's going to be really good, interesting kind of topic. There were loads of great releases here. I guess as each decade goes on, we tend to get more and more releases in the decade.
That's right.
We probably have more choice than ever here, because all the other ones were previous eras. And of course, the 2000s were, for me, I really think, that's the modern era starts then. The 80s,
right.
90s is the old days. And obviously the new century began and the world was changing a lot. Sometimes we throw in a bit of history, but I think I'll just skip to the fragrances today. So, Chris, you're going to have 5 fragrances. We haven't discussed who's got what.
Yeah,
maybe we have 1 or 2 the same. Let's find out.
Absolute ad hoc.
Great.
Absolute ad hoc. And this time I went with again somehow less obvious choices. Okay, because I totally agree with you. The 2000s are modern. At the same time, they were still up until 2008, which I consider a milestone when 1 Million came out, and what happened afterwards, I think, and the Bleu de Chanel, these changed the market quite considerably, in my opinion. But up until then, the designers were very brave in attempting to bring something new, and don't necessarily put out flanker after flanker, but create something new. Okay, so I went along the lines of being less obvious. So my choices are, could be a bit like strange or less known, because I could have picked like so many great ones. L'Instant de Guerlain is, in my opinion, probably the best of the decade. The Béatrice Piquet, rest in peace. She's I think that's the masterpiece of the decade, to put it straight ahead. Okay. But I could have Miracle Homme, and there were so many great fragrances out there. But I went as usual with your odd one. So 2000, actually the year 2000 with Giacomo Aurite started a great fragrance that I like, very very affordable. But the year 2001 is going to be my first pick, and 2001 we all know September 11 and all that, but that's not going to politics, right? A fragrance released by the house of Trussardi, Italy, called Python. Okay, I put it like this. It's a, and the fact that I love this fragrance is being shown by the amount of bottles I have here available. 50 ml, 100 ml. I'm basically loaded with backups. Okay, of this. And already this main theme, I love this this Python theme, and at the beginning when this came out, I was a bit skeptical. Is this another blue kind of aquatic stuff? But I was still considering Trussardi to be a very very high quality house, and it really was, or brand. And this came out in 2001. The female version came out in 1999. This one is all about a very gentle, exotic teak wood, olive tree, or fig tree, I should say, fig tree wood, olive tree, green, soft, exotic smell. Something you've never smelled before and never smelled since. It is absolutely stunning. This fragrance. the only downside that it had, it was a bit soft spoken. Okay, it wasn't really pushy at all. It was great for the summertime, but it could not compete probably with your Aqua di Joes and CK1s and even Eternities, because it's somehow lacking in the ability to project loudly. That does not impact the longevity. The longevity is great. This is just somehow something that is really an intimate fragrance, I would say, than a loud freshy. Okay, and sometimes in the summer I really want something coconutty, something limey that just screams holiday. This does whisper holiday. Okay, but it's very exotic, and it has this this fig tree, olive tree, greenness with a bit of aquatic feeling in there, but it's very, very special, and I can only recommend it. It's discontinued by now, but as you can see, it's still available here and there and everywhere. I consider it one of the best choices, certainly one of my favorite choices of this decade. Trussardi Python Man, released in 2001.
Sounds great. I love the design of the bottle and the box.
It's beautiful. Yeah, I'm trying to.
Very unique. Yeah, I love that. That's beautiful. And again,
and the box as well.
Yeah, I like
it's,
that.
It's sexy, isn't it? Yeah.
It is. I like that. Now, can we? So you say it's discontinued, but there's a good chance we might be able to still pick one up if we look around. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. I'm going to look out for that one. And again, I think this is going to work well because I kind of knew you might pick ones that we'd perhaps never heard of. Mine are maybe a little bit more famous ones. So hopefully it works out okay. So
I think it's good chemistry there.
I hope so. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you've got always so many that people have never heard of, and that's great because the viewers discover new stuff. Okay, so I've gone for one that I'm sure many people will be well aware of for my first pick. I think it was 2003, and it is, of course, Gauche pour Homme. And this was the 2003 release. I think it was Michel Almerac is the perfumer. And of course, sadly discontinued and sort of quite sought after. You can still pick up a bottle on eBay these days if you're lucky, but it's getting harder and harder. And I think I'm not sure, but I think this was the era when Tom Ford was involved there. Perhaps it was 2002. This one, I think, actually.
Absolutely genius. Yeah.
Yeah, he was clearly a very bold artistic director behind that some of the brands that he assisted in that time. Because I think there's another release I'm going to talk about in a moment that's also he was involved with or behind. So this is a really, really classic smelling, classic and yet slightly different to the things from the previous decade. So
this guy had the balls to do these things at the time.
He did, yeah, and it's it certainly paid off because, certainly artistically, this is very, very highly regarded. It's a really, really nice. Essentially, it's kind of fresh, but in a very woody way. It's got a very kind of dry, woody, masculine, yet fresh aura about the fragrance. And I think so there's some freshness, some citrus, a combination of different woody notes, and almost a kind of hint of kind of dry ashiness about the fragrance. I find it very, very charming. It doesn't somehow feel like a 70s, 80s, even 90s fragrance, but it certainly doesn't smell like something you'd typically expect to find released today. I'm not sure if it commercially didn't quite do as well as some of their other releases. Perhaps that's why we can't get it anymore, but it's an absolutely great, great fragrance. People talk about Bentley for Men Absolute as quite a good alternative, which is now freely available very cheaply. And I do have both. They're not identical, but I think it's the same perfumer. So if you can't find this, you'll get a good idea of something similar if you get that. So Gauche pour Homme, sadly lamented, and I was very lucky to get it. Just a 30 mil, but that'll do me for now.
I think Natalie Lawson is the Bentley Intense one. No, I think Natalie Lawson.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Maybe you're right there. Yeah. Okay.
I think so.
She certainly did the Bentley Intense.
Intense, yeah, the Intense one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the other one. Right. Yeah.
Absolute. Viewers go to Fragrantica and check.
Exactly.
One or the other. Okay, back to you.
Yeah. It just came to my mind that Rive Gauche, for example, what a fragrance, Yves Saint Laurent, 2003. Like there's so many brilliant things were happening, and Yves Saint Laurent was very much involved at the time. I'm going to jump a year, 2003, and a fragrance that is so affordable. It's one of the best performers in my collection, and it puts, anytime I use it, it puts a smile on my face. Dead Lapidus pour Lui. And it's such a simple composition of lavender and vanilla. And that's it. And it no matter when I use this, I keep smiling. This is such a joyful composition of very well done vanilla and just a classy lavender. And I'm flying with this. To me, it smells a little bit like Easter, which is one of my favorite times in the year. And it's just so uplifting and effortless and extremely well performing. This is to me a smell like an English garden party somewhere in Dartmoor, the southern part of England, and there's a sunshiny day, and you go out and you have your friends and you do probably barbecue and have a cocktail or something. This smells so effortlessly beautiful, like a really nice spring day, and it remains classy and not overly sweet with the vanilla. I really love this one. I don't wear it a lot, but when I do, I acknowledge it's an absolute favorite of mine from that decade, and it's a bit of an underdog as well now. Again, like, it's out there, it's still available, it's extremely affordable, but there's not much of a talk about this fragrance at all. So I thought I'd bring it a little bit up to and it's usually the Ted Lapidus bold appearance here with the...
It's incredible bottle design. Yeah, it really is. Yeah, it looks kind of old-fashioned now, but in a really good way. I really love it.
Yeah, like one of those cars that you were thinking, really?
Yeah. You did a great review, I think, of this one way back, and I partly or largely as a result of that, I've got the fragrance myself, and I agree it's an absolute great cheapie. I think you can still get out there. And Ted Lapidus really it was only when I got interested in the fragrance hobby that I heard of this person, but he was quite a big fashion designer way back.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, big time. Yeah.
He was very influential. I think he was kind of responsible for the introduction of safari themed clothes and all this kind of stuff. So this hobby helps me learn a bit about fashion in general, I think.
Doesn't it?
Okay. Yeah. Okay, lovely, great choice there. Thank you. So you just mentioned it, so it was a nice segue. We couldn't really leave it out, could we? So Rive Gauche pour Homme, of course, 2003, and it was during the period when Tom Ford was involved with helping Yves Saint Laurent as well with their fragrances. And of course, it's the famous hairspray or shaving foam-esque can. Of course, it's the twin to the original feminine Rive Gauche, which has a similar thing but in a kind of blue design and smells completely different. And this is it really is, I'm sorry to be cliched in my description, but it's kind of one of the best barbershop type fragrances, like a really nice creamy shaving foam. It's beautifully smooth. It's got bergamot, of course. It's got lavender. There's a little twist of anise, which just gives you that little hint of licorice. And it may remind you a bit of Azzaro pour Homme from the 70s. Many people compare the two. But this seems like they maybe just smoothed it out a little bit, took a little bit of the rugged, hairy chest feel of Azzaro pour Homme away, but kept some of that. I always say a little bit of Fabergé Brut DNA in there as well. And it's one of those reassuring uncle or dad smells, and any day, going to work, going to the office, clean, fresh. I don't think it's like an alluring, sexy smell or anything like that, but it's a very calming, reassuring, well-presented barbershop style fragrance. Sadly, we can't get it anymore. They had numerous versions where they had it back out in a little cube box. They smelled very, very similar. So if you can find those, they're still out there more easily than this one. But any version you pick up, if you like your old school barbershops, I don't know if there's one any better than this, even in niche for me. Yeah,
absolutely. And M7 the same. I used to hate M7 for like, and I was never an oud fan, and M7 was like, but I recently rediscovered it, and it's unbelievable. I love M7. So that's also Tom Ford being involved in Yves Saint Laurent. So Tom Ford at the beginning of the 2000s was really giving it.
Yeah, he was
very, very good. Okay, it's me again.
It is
right. Another weird one. Now this is a weird one. It really smells. I have to apply it actually. it will kill my wine smelling, but I don't mind, because this is just 2005 is the year. This fragrance has two names. I think in the States it's called Onyx, and in Europe it's Silver Black. Azzaro. Still available, absolutely under the radar. This juice is, and I don't know whom thought what when they brought this one out in 2005, but it has a feeling like you walk in the streets of Chicago in 1976 or something. It really has an incredible patchouli in there, and a limey, fruity, leathery backbone that is fairly strong, and it has a fougere-ness, and it has a lavender as well, if I'm not mistaken. This one, that is just really, this is 70s brought into the 21st century. Absolutely stunning, and especially in the autumn time, there is, I feel like, I don't know, a modern version of Starsky and Hutch when I wear this. You know, it is really and I always wanted him when I was a kid. I always wanted to be, watch the Starsky and Hutch and Streets of San Francisco and all this, all these series, and I always wanted to be this cool cop thing, the cop, hunting down the bad boys. And this is exactly how this smells. Like, I don't know, it's fresh and deep and dark and sexy and mysterious. And I reviewed this as well. Absolutely stunning. Onyx or Silver Black is the name, and Azzaro is the blend, and 2005 was the year.
No, again, another one I've only maybe heard of in passing, and now you've really piqued my interest in that one. So
you gotta get your nose on this one, because it's a killer. It's wow.
I'm going to I would genuinely want to pick a few up already that you've mentioned, because I'm definitely feeling like I need to freshen up the collection for the vids a bit. So this is, even if no one else saw this, it's quite helpful to me. So I appreciate it. And it's good to remember Starsky and Hutch, which for me, Starsky and Hutch is the mid-'80s, around my nan's house, just after the football results come on TV. Then it was Starsky and Hutch. So it brings back a lot of memories, So that's great. Thank you.
That's right, one of the tools that the fragrances are, good for, to bring back or create new ones,
Yeah, that's what I love about the fragrance thing. Yeah, I'm a very nostalgic person in general. Okay, lovely choices so far. So it's great. You're giving us some under the radar ones. I'm giving the obvious ones, but that works well. So you knew this had to happen. It's Dior Homme, the original Dior Homme from 2005. And, I have to hand it to this fragrance for really doing something unique that hadn't been smelled before, was totally
absolutely
creative.
And Dior, I mean, Dior had to, again, it was the time when these designers really still had the balls to go for something new, and they took a chance with this. It's not an obvious smell of the time, but look what they've done, what they've created. So yeah, absolutely. It's your turn. Sorry.
No, it's great. No, you're absolutely right. It's absolutely beautiful stuff. It is famously described as having this prominent iris note, and the way that they've used that here gives this slightly waxy feel. Some people compare it to the smell of lipstick, which I think iris used to be used in lipstick. So we always say, perhaps if you remember sniffing into your mum's makeup bag as a child, that you may get some reminiscence of that. So we wouldn't think that's an obvious feminine, masculine type scent, but it works so well with the little bit of fresh bergamot, some smooth, creamy woods in the base. I think there's a little tiny hint of a chocolatey thing in there that you just sort of pick up on, that some subtle chocolate. Some people say there's a note of a pear. And as viewers will know, I'm fond of a nice juicy pear. So it's a really good note to have in the fragrance. And but really that lovely waxy lipstick thing in a somehow sexy, smouldering, masculine way. And I think when it first came out, it was Jude Law, the actor, perhaps, that was promoting it. And that's about right. He was kind of a really suave, sophisticated, but it's kind of a modern guy, and that I think would be who that was aimed at. But I really love this one. Superb stuff.
Superb choice. That's what I can say. Like really, Dior living up to its reputation with this one in the modern days. Again, it's much like Guerlain with Instant. So and Instant to Guerlain. But I just to clarify, you actually advocate
as your absolute favorite, just the normal Instant de Guerlain,
Yeah.
as opposed to, you don't necessarily have to get the Extreme or the other one.
The Extreme is good, is great also, and the Eau de Parfum version, which I actually have now, from 2016, I think is very similar to the original. But it's just something that Béatrice Piquet has created there that is so delicately French, and it's so effortless and so beautiful, much like the Dior. So absolutely, yeah.
Great.
And,
okay, it's over to you again.
I keep continuing being weird, especially in the references that I use when I describe a fragrance. This one I got to know fairly recently and was taken totally off my seat by this fragrance, because it's the house of Jacques Bogart. It's the year of 2008, I think it was. And the fragrance is called City Tower. City Tower.
I've heard of it.
And this thing, it is it's incredible. Without diving into the notes here, I'd rather, what comes to me immediately is, again, the 70s, very much like 75, in a used Cadillac where the owner is a serial killer and he's smoking, and he doesn't actually put clean the ashtray, and you have this partially wooden plastic dashboard with the overloaded full with cigarette ashes ashtray, and you have this weird guy driving this used Cadillac around to look for whatever his business is. This is how it smells to me. This smells to me like a police interrogation would ask a victim of this guy that he kidnapped. What do you remember of the car? Do you remember anything of the kidnapper? No, I didn't see him. I was blindfolded, but I remember the smell of the car. It smells of ashtray, of probably a bit of a leather jacket, probably a bit of a plastic dashboard, and this weird carpet on the seats. This is how it smells. It smells absolutely atrocious, but in a very weird and brave way. I don't know when I will wear this. I will wear this in the autumn time. It's an autumn type of fragrance to me, but it's for its creativity and its weirdness. I adore this, and of course, as we know with Jacques Bogart, the performance in that is brilliant, and the price quality ratio is also brilliant. But it's a weird smell. It's something that really it's dark and kind of weird, but I like it for what it is, because it takes a step into a direction that is not necessarily a crowd-pleasing direction.
Well, that is a great choice. I was going to say, you're not exactly selling me on this fragrance here, but it raises an interesting point, because do you have quite a few fragrances maybe that you're not going to pick to wear very often, but you really enjoy having them just perhaps spray on the hand or a piece of paper and enjoy the art of what happened there? Do you find that's a thing you do?
And this, exactly, that's right. And not necessarily wear it. Let's see what happens in the autumn. But again, City Tower, if you look at the City Tower, if you look at the skyscrapers, and you have quite a few of them in London, they are nice to look at, but they're cold and impersonal. They're not a welcoming sight. They can be beautiful and they can be majestic or whatever, but they're cold and they're, during the night they're closed, you can't get in. It's a weird kind of rigidness that they have, these skyscrapers, these city towers, and this is exactly how this smells. It's merciless. It's cold-blooded. It's there's no friendliness in this. There's no welcoming warmth. There's nothing in this fragrance that actually would call anybody to buy it, except for, I got this as a gift. But it's just beautiful. It's beautiful as a smell.
I'm curiously fascinated by this fragrance. Weirdly, I may actually buy it. I'm not sure it's top of the list of the ones you've recommended that I'm going to buy, but I may get to that one. So great choice, and what a great description. Thank you. Okay, we've got two left. I've got one. Two left. You've got one. So again, probably one that is not a massive surprise to vintage fragrance fans. Rochas Lui. Wow, this is incredible. My only hesitation about including this is a little bit similar to the Gauche Pour Homme. So think of everything I said maybe about the Gauche Pour Homme. I believe it was the same perfumer, Mr. Michel Almerac. I think it was 2002 or 3. And it's just got a little bit more of a creamy undertone. That one is very dry and woody. This has this undertone of creaminess and a hint of sweetness, beautiful freshness, a little bit of citrus, mainly all about sophisticated woods and this hard to pin down kind of creamy, smooth, more of a creaminess that is coming from wood rather than vanilla or anything like that. It's a hint of sweetness, but very, very subtle, mixed in with dry woods. And just actually, this one, the Gauche kind of dry, woody and masculine, lovely. And this one just has that little hint more of maybe sexy seductiveness in there, but with many of the same lovely, classy qualities and a great class. I mean, it looks like a 70s aftershave bottle design, and it's brilliant. So again, sadly, you're not going to find this very easily, but you know, those of us who lurk on eBay enough will pick up a lot of the things we want if we're patient. So look out for this one. It really is lovely.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about it's an eau de toilette, right? And what about the density, the projection, the performance? I mean, this blows most of the eau de parfums of today out of the window. This is so strong and so it's almost penetrating. I had this thing. My God, it's almost suffocating if you overspray. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. And
that's tremendous quality.
Yeah, wonderful. That's what you really had in those days, and you often make that point that the eau de toilettes from then often surpass the modern eau de parfums of today. Yeah. And back to you.
Last but not least, same year 2008, and I couldn't leave my one of my favorite artists, personalities, designers behind. Karl Lagerfeld in 2008 brought out an interesting idea of 3 fragrances called Capsule. There was Capsule Light, Capsule Floriental, and Capsule Woody. Looks like this is a 30 ml. And I think Olivier Cresp is the nose on this one. And the original idea was, with the campaign, if I remember well, to sort of play around with these. They were genderless. I don't like the word unisex, so I use genderless. They were sort of thought to be genderless and to be kind of layered with each other, but I don't think that the broad public was kind of, okay, like when do I layer, maybe, or not even ready. I don't want to layer, I want to spray a fragrance and enjoy it, okay? So it was not, I don't think it was overly successful, but out of the 3, this is my probably my favorite, along with the light version. And the reason is that the parfumeur here used only 3 notes that were a very brave choice, in my opinion. And those 3 notes are cedar, plum, and oak moss. And these come at you, as if you spray this out, these 3 notes come at you at once. And afterwards, they play a game of hide and seek. You know, sometimes the plum is out there, and then it disappears. Then the cedar wood takes over just for half an hour later to let the oak moss shine. Okay, so incredibly enjoyable for that. It smells deep. It smells dark. It's an autumn fragrance, but it's not overly complex. But you really enjoy the dance of these 3 being blended so masterfully here with a great performance. And Lutz Hermann, designer, did this type of design. It's great. The cap comes up and or off like this, 30 ml. You could put it in your pocket and that. So I love these very practical bottles, and it's nice. On the bottom you have how should I show this for the viewers to be? You have no, it's here. Karl's signature there. This came out before he had the idea to market his own head as the logo of the company. Okay, this was 2000. So I tremendously enjoy it. And it's if you check Fragrantica and all these places, people describe this as a mysterious kind of forest smell with some weird plum tree standing in the middle of it. Okay, so but it's really nice. It's something again under the radar. and it's high quality. It's good. It's good stuff. And if this is worn by a girl, wow. If I wouldn't be married, I tell you.
It sounds great. I think I've got the Capsule Light. Can you just remind me which capsule is that?
That was Capsule Woody.
Capsule Woody. Okay, brilliant.
Yeah. You got it.
Yeah. And can we still get that one?
I think it's still around. I just got a few backup bottles online of the light as well. I love the light because it has a fantastic lingering neroli nutmeg combination. It's fantastic as well. But I chose this over the light for today's review. But I think, I'm not sure if they're still being manufactured, but they're still very much available out there.
Still available, yeah. And definitely plum is an unusual note, but I
love plum. I love plum in this fragrance. Really, so I'm a sucker for plum. So, and Lagerfeld already had that in Jacques a decade earlier.
Right.
And he's done a great plum there as well. So he must have been some sort of a fan of plum as well.
So I think, if you're interested in that fragrance, I think, maybe you don't need to go and splash out on Plum Japonese from Tom Ford to get a great plum themed fragrance. Okay, I've got a final pick for you. And it's Bogart Pour Homme, again, quite a well-known one. I think a few years ago, a lot of us talked about it, and then it's under the radar now. The reason mine is so full is I do have several backup bottles, which are completely unnecessary because I'm sure I'll probably die long before they're used, but never mind. So it's really affordable, about 18 or 20 pounds. I hope that's the last time I checked. I hope we can still get it. I think it was 2004. Michel Rousseau, the fantastic perfumer who's worked for so many great brands over the years, including some of the really fancy niche fragrances now he does, Musk Ravageur and all kinds of things. But he really turned his hand to a rather charming budget release from Bogart. Again,
how great is that? Actually,
yeah, it's very potent. Again, for me, I think many people have described this as a cross between Jean-Paul Gaultier Le Male and Mugler's Pure Havane, which is not a bad description. For me, it's got this lavender kind of barbershop feel, some similarities, passing similarities, a hint of Le Male, and then this lovely kind of tobacco note in there. It's very, very, to me, quite manly, a hint of a barbershop theme, but it's very much not a traditional barbershop 70s smell. There's a kind of sweetness in there, quite a bit of sweetness, actually. And this really, really nice tobacco smell. And I've taken this on summer holidays because it sounds like quite a heavy winter autumn fragrance, but it's really got fond memories of me for summer holidays in evenings in the really hot weather. It's a really, really great fragrance. And in many ways, I get as much happiness out of wearing this as my more expensive fragrances. So if you haven't checked, for me, if I had to recommend one that you could buy today from the ones I mentioned that you can actually get, because most of them you can't, this would be it. So Bogart Pour Homme, great one. I think it was 2004.
Yeah. May I challenge you for a second? Out of the five, if you would have to pick only one, such a popular question, which would it be? Which one would it be if you would need to highlight one of them? Okay.
I think for uniqueness and groundbreakingness, I guess I would have to go for Dior Homme, because I think that is the most groundbreaking fragrance and still eminently wearable and beautiful and wonderful too. So all the others are great, but there's other things that came before and after that are not so dissimilar. They're brilliant, but this one was like nothing that had ever happened. So I would give it to that. Obviously, it's coming. Same question. Back to you then.
Taking all points into consideration, availability, uniqueness, performance, and everything, I would go for the Azzaro, because this is kicking ass. It's totally unique, and it gives you, it gives you actually these two vibes combined. So this fragrance gives you the vibes of these two, combined. Okay, it's really, really, this is stunner.
And it's onyx in the
onyx
USA
or silver black.
Okay.
I think I have to actually read. Mine says, put it in the camera here.
Yeah, silver.
Mine
black.
says silver black. Okay.
Look, I'm going to try and do a world first here, Chris. If you've got 2 seconds, I'm going to try and buy a fragrance live in a video. Let's do. No one's ever. I don't think I've ever seen this done, and I've never heard of it or not thought of doing this till today. Oh, currently unavailable. This
should be out there. Like here locally, it's everywhere.
I got All Beauty. Here we go. That'll do. Okay.
It has this lavender, lime, fruit, and then the patchouli. The patchouli is so beautiful. You getting it? Wow.
Got Amazon first. It wasn't there. Let's hope that I'm logged in, so they just take me straight through. Okay. Doing it. I'm breaking new ground here, Chris. That's what I always try to do on the channel. And,
I know that.
So we're gonna, yes. And let's. One only. I nearly bought two. Check out. So look at this, guys. I bought it. It's £22.90, including post, from All Beauty. We're not sponsored, by the way. if they want to call me, I'm happy to do it. But let's, here we go. So they want me to sign in. I'm going to quit. I hope I remember my password. Here we go, guys. And I'm not sure this is particularly great TV, but let's just to do something you don't often see. Mailing address, yeah, that's good. Okay, yeah.
Up until then, I recommend you Jacques Cabernet Sauvignon from.
Yeah. Tell us about the wine, please. While you're,
it's it's
Hungarian wine.
Huh?
A Hungarian wine, yes. Go.
Hungarian wine, yes, from the southern Hungarian region. It's a Cabernet Sauvignon 2017. It still has about 10 years to go, I think. But I opened the bottle anyway. It's nice. Right. And I enjoyed it a lot.
You're quite a wine connoisseur. You really know your wines a bit, don't you?
Yeah, I do for a number of years now. I had a colleague from Switzerland who was very much into these gourmet things, and he taught me without being, acting posh, to enjoy wines, food, cigar, the different cuisines of the world, and that's something that I enjoy. So if people start to get worried that I drink too much, it's not the case. I'd rather, celebrate such an occasion like I'm together here with you on this channel with a nice sip of wine. So it's not abusing of alcohol. It's
no
to celebrate the occasion.
Thank you. I'm glad.
There you go. Let me know, definitely.
Yeah. I think that's really nice, and I think it's actually a nice touch that you sometimes do a video with a glass of wine, because again, people don't do that. It's just different, and it gives us that relaxed air. And I'm sure it doesn't mean that you're drinking wine all day, every day. That's not the case. Yep, it's done. There's order reference number. I bought the fragrance. The world first may be that I bought a fragrance on your recommendation live in the video. I think that's it for us, isn't it? I think you've got things to get on with. I'm very grateful for you giving me your time. It's so fun.
Well, thanks very much for having me.
Now, we're going to fast run out of decades to do, because unless we go back to the 19th century. But if viewers want to know that maybe if there's a decade we didn't do yet, maybe...
Yeah, the 2010s we didn't do, right?
Well, that's the obvious next choice then.
Sure, we can find some stuff there.
Okay, well, when you can do it, I'm very much looking forward to that one. I guess that's probably all we've got to say. By the way, guys, I will link Chris's channel in the description. I'm sure probably most of my viewers actually are well aware of it. But if any aren't, and you like the old school fragrances, this guy will definitely help you find some, in many cases, affordable ones that you never heard of. Okay, guys, thanks ever so much for watching. Remember, whatever you're doing in life, let's project. Bye-bye.
Port viveur, les nouveaux parfums pourront barnetnaughton Wilson, parce que la vie est faite pour être appréciée.